Brian's looking at me like it's something to say, and I should say it. So welcome. This is Deconversion Therapy, the podcast.
And if you want to hear what we talk about for 10 minutes before we record, you never will.
Thank God.
But it is being recorded. I'm Karen.
I'm Bonnie.
She's Bonnie. And you can find us on all the social medias, or as Bonnie says
Don't
in the
say
biz.
That's secret. I called it SochMed.
You said SochMed.
I said there were two ways of saying it, like GIF and GIF.
Oh. Okay. So you find us on those things. But I wanted to talk about the newsletter more because we just really appreciate the people who are sponsoring us and wanted to give them a shout out. So we have 4. We have a thank you to Stella. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bonnie.
No. Mm-mm.
Yep. Do it.
Mm-mm.
Do it.
Mm-mm.
You think Stella's gotten it too much? She doesn't deserve it?
She doesn't deserve that.
She doesn't. Even though Julia Louis-Dreyfus does it really well. Then we say thank you to Julie and Megan and Linda. And all of those are women, as you know, which is fascinating because sometimes I actually listen to podcasts done by men. It's painful, but
it's just all about the penis.
And that's what they do. They thank their supporters, and it's like, I'd like to thank penis, scrotum, ballhead, dickhead. But it's funny because it is like it's more men, and we get more women supporters. But thank you so much. And what we do with that is we come out with a newsletter twice a month. This month, I am going to introduce them to my familia. And you and I have like pictures of us when we were young in there, in the past one. So if you want to sponsor us, $7 a month, you get 2 newsletters. And on the 25th, we will pick our second winner of a Saints candle from Illuminitals. And you can have anyone on there, including the people we're going to talk about today, probably. Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
It is.
Is he an option?
I don't think our first one is. Okay. I don't know, but our second one is.
Oh, all right. You've got stuff to talk about that I don't know about. I'll look at the notes.
Oh, don't you worry. Okay. Don't you worry. But this is probably a 2-parter, and Bonnie named it well. It's going to be Lil Nas X featuring Joel Osteen on bass.
That's... Is it Nas?
I think it's Nas. Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, it is.
I've only read about him. I haven't ever heard anybody say his name. I figured it was Nas.
Oh, I watch a lot of videos. And I will tell you, I had to bring out the eye wash because...
Because they were naughty?
They were nausy.
That doesn't sound right.
No.
And you didn't give him his X. He's Lil Nas X.
Yeah. I think that got added lately. I hope he doesn't do a thing where he like adds things.
Mellencamp?
Right.
Lil Nas X Mellencamp.
Or like the weird symbols of
right. Like Prince.
No, of what's his name?
Diddy?
All of these are correct, yet not the one I was thinking of. Elon Musk's kid, which is just fucking ridiculous.
Well, he didn't choose his name, so.
I can't wait till he grows up.
Wait, like, what's my name?
Call me Bob. All right.
We call you Eric. How are we going to find out if it's Lil Nas or Lil Nas?
It's Nas. I watched all the videos.
I watched his videos, but he doesn't say his own name in them, does he?
It's Nas.
I mean, I didn't.
It's like nozzle.
I can't listen.
It's short for nozzle.
No, it's not.
That's how he did it.
It's Lil Nas because it's nasty.
We're just gonna.
I made that up. So we'll find out
when
from
he comes on the show.
From all the listeners who are like, these dumb white ladies.
No, I think it can be Nas, but it's not Nas. That's what I mean.
I was just making it up. That was an improvisational moment.
Well,
sorry.
Good. But this one was going to be about Joel Osteen. Guess what? It's Osteen. That one I did not know till I was listening more. So this one was going to be just about Joel Osteen because, like, everyone hates him. There's so many memes. And then I started looking him up, and things have changed. My heart has changed.
Your heart has changed?
Yeah. About Joel.
Well, let me tell you that when I lived in New York, that somebody told me, hey, you should read this book by Joel Osteen, who I thought was pronounced Osteen. And I wasn't about to do that, but he just happened to be playing at Madison. Whatever.
On
he
base.
happened to be appearing. It's not performing. I guess it is performing at Madison Square Garden that night. And I looked online. Yeah, there was a seat. So I was like, boop, boop, boop. And you just click everything. And then all of a sudden you're at Madison Square Garden, which is the first time I'd been to Madison.
Are you kidding? I did not know you did this.
Yeah. This was years ago.
It doesn't matter. It marks you forever.
Yeah, but when you're talking about things in life and how to handle situations, somebody who I respected said, have a look at what he has to say, and he wasn't a Christian. And I thought, well, all right, because, and this is in our newsletter I reference, maybe some Christian people have something to say that can benefit us that doesn't necessarily have to do with how we praise Christ. Maybe they do have some things to say that are also about
they do
just living life.
I hear it every week. I go to Kroger and there's a Christian and they're like, that's on aisle 3. And I'm like,
okay.
No, I totally agree. I'm being a butthead, but yeah.
However, okay, so I get to Madison Square Garden. I don't remember what he said because it was so long ago. But the thing that I took away was, I could totally perform here.
I thought you were going to say, obviously, something about him.
No, it's just something weird. You know how some people talk about having stage fright? I was on the ground in the, in the
mosh
seats.
Pit?
Yeah, in the mosh pit, where I guess the ice would be if you're watching hockey. And so I turned around and looked, and it was just enormous. By the way, the place was filled. But I thought, I don't think I'd be afraid. Anyway, in case somebody wants to see me in concert.
Was it because Joel was doing all that positive stuff and it made you feel empowered?
No.
Okay. Right.
It's totally unrelated to anything we're talking about.
Joel-less?
But that was my one memory. It was like, I think I could do this. Robbie Williams talks about getting stage fright, and I'm like, I don't know.
Well, now that I know that you saw him, you're the expert in Joel. But these two go together, and I'll tell you how. I'll blend it in. It's going to be such a smooth transition. People won't even notice. But I wanted to start out. So, okay, when I was looking up Lil Nas, the thing that comes up, I watched a bunch of videos, including his satanic one. But one that comes up is him on the Ellen.
Specific.
Him on the Ellen show, and I'll tell you. Okay, she has gone down for me. I never watched like daytime TV anyway. Just not my thing. But
for you, Sorry,
I didn't understand that.
You said she has gone down for me.
Oh no. She has declined in my view of her after all that shit comes out about how her staff and everything and it's toxic and blah blah blah. So
that
now
she fosters like a hostile workplace.
Yeah, and now when I look at any of her clips, like it's tainted. But I see the Lil Nas thing, and they're having a convo about him coming out gay and all that. And then the fucking table next to him, someone jumps out and scares him. And I hate that gimmick that she does. I hate the scare gimmick. It's like, let's laugh at someone being uncomfortable, and it's
who's having a physical reaction.
Yeah.
Which is fear and the whole fight or flight thing that we can all do without.
And she keeps doing it and doing it. And I'm like, it's such a cheap laugh. It's annoying. That's all. And she said that he had said, whatever you do, can you not scare me? And she says this. And she's like, well, we hadn't thought of it. But then when you said it, I'm like, that's shitty.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see her at Madison Square Garden. I can tell you that.
I don't think she's going.
She might have already been there. Okay, so let's start with Jolie. I hated him because of his hair and his teeth.
Oh, that's fair.
It is. Like, there's such unlikable traits. All he needs to do, if he trims up the back a little bit, get it? Like, then he would at least not have that weird mullety shine. He'd get rid of a good inch of shine.
Maybe his hairline is really low on his scalp area.
Get those clippers out. His barber can do that.
I don't know. Maybe it's hard to give up. Like, I would really, if I had my druthers, I'd really like to have a big claw head full of bangs. Because it would give my face the shape I'm used to from 1986. Maybe he just can't let go.
That's it. I think he's got sort of stuck in that. And then his wife is blonde, and she's got, not a bump it, but, it's got a fullness in areas that harken a former age. But, yeah.
Yeah. Like, sometimes when I do my hair, I know it's going to fall and flop, but it starts out looking like Nancy Grace.
Yeah.
Until I comb it out.
Yeah, but don't, before you comb it out, just sort of like yell at the camera a bit.
Is that what his wife does?
No,
Nancy Grace does?
Nancy Grace does. Okay, so what year do you think he was born? Like, how old do you think he is?
I think he was born in, 1969.
63.
Oh, wow.
There's some work that has been had. Because that's the same as my brother, and no offense to my brother. But
I'm laughing because the last picture Karen sent me of her brother has her sitting next to him, flopping her hair over his head.
Yeah.
And it's a good visual. But
because he has no
I don't know. Joel Osteen is just happy and has good living genes, maybe.
Osteen. You said it so wrong. I know everything.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. But, he's just been so hateable because it's so easy. So I'm like, let's look into him because we're going to find shit about this guy.
He lives in an expensive house. I know that.
Very expensive. But you know what? Do you know what the hand signal for devil horns are?
Is it like that?
Oh, my God.
What?
Now, I'm possessed now because you showed it to me. Yes. So there is a picture of him doing devil horns. And I mean, the preachers glommed onto this. It got in a lot of the Christian news things because a lot of preachers are very upset that he doesn't preach a lot on hell and like the consequences of sin and all this. And now they know because there's a picture of him holding up devil horns. Of course, it is at the graduation of his son from University of Texas, who are the Hook'em Horns. And it has his whole family, because everyone does the Hook'em Horn sign. And
Aw.
this went around everywhere to prove that Joel Osteen is really a false prophet and all this shit.
What a weird thing to grab onto.
Totally.
I mean, was this by other preachers?
Oh, yes, lots of them. Yeah. It got in, like, different, quote, news outlets, including, like, the papers around Houston, because they're like, there's a big controversy about Joel Osteen, doodly-doo. And then it's like, that's the hook 'em horns and blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Good Lord.
That's it. They jump on everything. But, okay, so the guy has 10 million viewers in the U.S. and several million across 100 countries weekly.
Is that on TV? What?
Yeah.
Or is it like that creepy old guy, Pat Robertson, who all his viewers are on the interwebs?
Right. I think it's TV, a Sirius radio. Sirius, not serious.
Yeah,
radio.
I heard that advertised the other day.
You what?
I heard him advertised on the Sirius. I canceled my Sirius radio, so when I unplug my phone, I get Sirius radio commercials, and I don't change the channel. I just listen to the commercials sometimes for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I'll be getting out of the car soon. Oh, Howard Stern. Oh, he's talking to Jerry Seinfeld. I would like to hear that. I don't want to pay $60. That's the whole conversation.
So you listen to Joel.
But there's a Joel channel, apparently.
Right. So they can listen on there, and then I guess, I don't know if it's counted, but they listen on his cube. Remember, he has that prayer cube that you can buy? Yes. It's this.
What's a prayer cube? Is it a speaker?
It's like a magic 8-ball.
No, it's got to be like an Alexa thing.
Yeah, so I just sent it to you, but it's the inspirational audio cube with sermons and affirmations, and it looks...
Oh, wow.
I know, and the last picture shows it sitting on a pretty little tabletop next to a vase and a candle, so you can just leave it there in your living room, and then just go boop, boop, boop.
There it is, yeah.
There it is.
I like this. It's a vase with just leaves.
I know. I'm like, that's not good.
No, somebody made the decision not to put a flower in that photo. No, I really think that we want the color pop to come from the Joel cube in the photo.
And we don't want it to just, like, trigger women to buy this. This is a neutral leaf.
Right. Yep.
So it says, start your new life now, daily positive statements to help you overcome negative thoughts. It also has a Bluetooth. But in this cube thing, when people can ask questions, not just review.
Oh, to Amazon?
Yeah.
To other Amazon purchasers?
Yes. But some of the questions are, hold on. Will this cube help keep my jeans high and tight? Does this cube have any quotes from Mark Wahlberg?
What does that mean?
Exactly.
It's just giving me ideas of things I want to do to fuck around on Amazon.
And then there's like all these weird things about jeans and in the reviews, and I do not know what is happening.
Wait, can we just have a moment to look at some more answered questions?
Yeah, feel free.
Will this cube get Julia to finally respond to one of my video messages?
Reviews said, it took me a while to warm up to this, but once the message became clear, I was able to fly into the sun to fight God himself.
Will this cube help my friend Bart Chrysler quit drinking gallons of Kool-Aid? Does this cube play the classics like Bert is fat?
So I think keeping it high and tight is something that must be Joel Osteen related, because like everyone is saying it. Bonnie's done.
Hold on, wait, there's
Bonnie's
one more question and
retired.
answer.
Just
I
hold on.
recently got out of jail. Will this cube help me find a loving relationship and a lease and a key? Oh, wait, the answer is even better. Anything that Joel Osteen does is wonderful. I bought it so my husband, who can no longer read his Bible, can listen to this. He does love to listen to Joel. Hope this helps.
Oh, that's so sad yet good. Anyway, okay, so he has the cube, which is, he's just setting himself up for mocking with that little item there. But Joel Osteen's mother's last name, I mean, he's meant to be who he is. Her last name was Pilgrim.
Oh,
And then he went to Humble High School. It's written in the stars. So his father founded Lakewood Baptist Church, now it's just Lakewood Church. And he said, and Joel Osteen was like, I think he went to college for a little bit and then dropped out and wanted to do like the behind the scenes mechanical stuff. Like I think he was the AV dude, maybe.
He was AV squad.
Had all the keys. And then his dad started feeling sick and was like, hey, can you preach? And he didn't want to, but his dad had to like take a Sunday off and said preach. And so he did, and his dad died 6 days later. So he was like, all right, I'll do this thing.
Wow.
And then the attendance grew from 5,000 to now actually 51,000.
Where do they put them all?
Oh, where did they put them? They bought the Compaq Center that used to be the home of the NBA Rockets and the hockey team, the Arrows. So they're in like a real stadium.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So the thing that the preachers, the icky preachers, hate is like, okay, he's not preaching hell, consequences, you're a sinner, diddly doo-doo. And Joel's like, I just don't feel that I want to do the old, you guys are terrible, you're going to hell. I'd rather say that God is a God of mercy. And you got to live an obedient life, but for every mistake you've made, there's also still mercy and you can do better. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense because when I'm reading about training my dog or my kids, they've proven that reward works better than punishment. And
the carrot rather than the stick.
Exactly. And that's all he's really doing is just being like, hey, keep your attention over here. And he keeps just doing it in that way. And then that's seen as too positive by these other preachers.
But I think that there has to be controversy in order to get people to stick around and stay with them. Because if you don't slam Joel, they're going to go to him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much like infighting and yeah. Which I always wondered when I was a Christian, like, why are there so many denominations and so many churches starting? Like, I hate the phrase church planting, but, like, why can't those 8 people who start a church find one other church in their town?
Right. There's no other option for you?
Right. No, we have to start a new one. We have to start a new building. Anywho.
But I think that that's just because of money.
Money and ego. Like, someone's like, I'm going to be the pastor this one.
Yeah.
I'm going to lead it up.
Someone's got to be the pastor.
Okay, so this is the controversial part of Joel Osteen, which I was always like, look at his fucking house. It's huge. And he's just a prosperity gospel guy like Paula White. Like, give me money and you'll get more money. And God wants you to have a lot of money. And then I looked into it and he doesn't really do that. Like, we're going to get so much shit from people like, oh, how can you like Joel Osteen? I'm not saying I like him. I'm not going to his church. But he is worth like 40 to 60 million. But he doesn't take any money from the church. He doesn't even take a salary. It's all from his books and when he goes and talks.
His side hustle.
His gigs. That's right.
But you know what? That's the same as Jay Leno. I think Jay Leno was paid for his Tonight Show stuff, but I think he just banked it all or something, and he only lived off of his stand-up money. That was always the folklore around him.
But he still took the money, though.
Well, I guess. I don't really know any of the facts except for the broad folklore that I just shared with you. I could stop mid-podcast and Google it if you want me to. No.
It's fine. But yeah, so Osteen doesn't take any money from the church, which I was like, for some reason, that information never gets out. He just makes a shit ton of money from your friend buying the book and you going to Madison Square Garden.
Well, yeah. I've seen worse at Madison Square Garden.
The other thing he doesn't do is talk politics.
Oh, well.
Which is, why are we not hearing that he's not the worst preacher in the world? So anyway,
because they're all purchased. All the other pastors are probably bought by politicians.
So he did not do anything with Trump. He didn't, and I'm like, okay, check mark. So he does preach obedience to like God's word, but without judgment. And then we have to talk about Hurricane Harvey, because that's when everyone's like, open your damn doors. And he's like, it's flooded. And people went down there and took pictures and they're like, look, it's not flooded. And they were like, but it was flooded before when we went down there and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not giving, although.
So people were saying, Joel Osteen, open your doors?
Yeah. Like for the people who were being flooded and had nowhere to go. And they're like, okay, there's this huge place. Why don't you let us in? Right. And Joel Osteen was like, okay, we need to get our people down there to let you in. But our people are having their own issues.
Right.
Okay. But I'm not saying that's okay at all. I'm just saying that was the back and forth, and that's what got in the news. And I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say that I know what's right or wrong there. But yes, he finally did. With all the pressure, he opened it up. And then a year later, the mayor honored him with a day because his church did so much to rebuild Houston. Mm-hmm. Now, the other negative thing is that last year, his church got $4.4 million in the forgivable PPP loans for COVID relief.
Yeah.
Which people freaked out. They're like, okay, one, it's a forgivable loan. Mm-hmm. Two, you're a tax-free church anyway.
Yeah.
And so they said it was like, okay, we used it to pay, they have 368 full-time and part-time employees.
Right. And PPP stands for Paycheck Protection and another P.
I know. I was going to go, where's that other?
All right.
Where's the other P? But they, and the good thing of that is that they did close from March until October, which is a lot more than we can say for the other shithole churches that are still defiant. But, so, did they need to take that loan if they had so much money? I don't know. I would think they could just like scrape their barrels for that one.
But I think they were also hedging their bets, as anybody church-wise was, with people aren't going to come back after it's over. Because it's going to be like a government-imposed backsliding.
Right.
Across the nation.
Which I wonder how many are going to backslide in his church, since there's very little, like, ick, as far as, like, I realize that I'm not going to church and I feel better about myself. I think his church might be I miss it, I don't feel as good about myself without going.
That's interesting. And this is the other thing about the whole PPP loans. Okay, if it's a loan and it's forgivable, it doesn't mean that it necessarily gets forgiven, does it?
That I don't know. Like, I don't know anything about that, and I don't know.
I don't either. And as a realtor, I am eligible to apply for those.
Ooh, do it. That's what I think. It must be that. It must be like, okay, these places got that, and then they had to close down because of COVID, and we're going to forgive theirs or something. So that must be it. I don't know. I feel guilty even painting Joel into this nice person, but I just don't see a lot of horrible at all. So,
that's
okay,
good.
Here's some more controversies. Kanye.
Oh, no, that's right.
So,
didn't he use his church to go do a Sunday service?
Right. And they were going to do like all this stuff together. And like Tyler Perry was there and Mariah Carey. And, it ended up being more showy. And so other pastors are like, no, that's not good. And that's not biblical. And you know what? It's not. None of it is. But as far as it's not harming anyone. But then it got stopped because of all the COVID stuff. And then now Kanye has been revealed to be even bigger of a mess.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And then Joel Osteen's wife, there was something about that she put her hands on a flight attendant, and the flight attendant sued her like
around her neck.
I don't know, or swatted her or pushed her. I don't know what it was. I think they settled it, and then she was like, "I'm sorry." I don't know, but there's something going on there. But
can you imagine being a celebrity and accidentally doing and performing at Madison Square Garden? And accidentally doing something that really gets out of hand like that. Not that she was doing it accidentally. I don't know what her story was like that. But what if you flung yourself around to say something and used your hand and it hit a nice flight attendant in the face?
Right.
But you were, Brad Pitt. Well, Brad Pitt hit me.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe that's why Michael Jackson wore masks all the time. Because if I was a celebrity, wearing a mask now would be so great, because not only is it harder to recognize you, but you can make any face. And the paparazzi can't see you and catch you, Yeah. Look how unhappy they are at the mall, they'll just be like, yeah.
You don't have to wear lipstick. You could take your fake teeth out.
Take the teeth out.
Okay. So wait, there was one celebrity who used to wear the same thing riding her bike every day, so that the paparazzi couldn't sell new pictures. Ooh. They'd be like, "Oh, this is just the same." I don't know. It might have been Madonna.
Good one.
It's Madonna again in the same damn outfit.
That's like the Truman Show over and over again. Okay. So then, while I was looking up Joel, or as we Spaniards say, Hole, he up came this guy named Michael Klimkowski. Michael Klimkowski was like a comedian trying to make it in LA, and he looks like Joel Osteen. So one or two people had mistaken him for that, so he just went ahead and ran with it. And he will show up in like a suit at different places, and people are like, oh my gosh, it's him. And they get pictures with him. And he just says all these, like, you know, when people are like, hey, how you doing, Joel? He's like, you know, too blessed to be stressed, all that shit. And people are like, oh, wow, it's him, it's him. So he actually went to one of those, maybe not Madison Square Garden, maybe, like gatherings, and he walked in through the back, and he's like, okay, where do I go? And they're like, oh, you go here. Oh, here you go.
Where do I go?
So, like, all the, you know.
To look like someone else just walking. Where do I go?
Right. But people were like, oh, it's him. Look. And it's hilarious. And then, you know, he looks like him, but he's not identical. And but they still are like, okay, yeah, here, sir, come in through this back door. Now you go here. And of course, then he was finally caught. You can hear people on camera go, that's not him. That doesn't look like him. But
he said, where do I go?
So he just, now he has this whole thing of, like, he had a group of guys, comedian guys, who were always like writing skits, trying to break out, trying to figure this out. And he's like, and I just realized I have the lowest denominator for comedy. I look like someone. And so I can just walk around and people, you know.
And people think I'm them, and so much that I get to say, where do I go?
Right. Where do I go? That's what I say. There are no answers. But how this ties into Lil Nas X is when I was Googling more things on Joel, up comes a photo of Joel, his wife Victoria, and Lil Nas X. And I'm like, what the fuck?
In person?
Yeah, they're like...
They're not photoshopped together.
They're, you know, it's like some... not red carpet, but publicity thing, you can tell. And I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And I kept looking and looking. And then I found all these videos from preachers saying, you thought Joel Osteen had reached his lowest, but now he's defending Lil Nas X. And I'm like, what? Oh, let me see. And then it goes into all the things that they hate about Lil Nas X, and he's satanic and demons, etc. And that they just bring up that picture over and over again. And one video I almost sent to you, because all it is that photo. There's like 2 or 3 photos of them together. And it just has, you know, white bad font on a black background that says Joel Osteen playing with the devil, blah, 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 blah. And the noise, I mean, the music is a siren. It's just a siren. Like, alert the angels, this guy is the devil. So I did a lot of research into why are they together? What are they doing together? And find out they just both had Sirius XM channels. And it was an event where it was like, you know, Sirius Super Bowl event or whatever the hell it is. And they were just publicity shots of different hosts and guests. And that was it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right about the celebrity.
It's guilt by association, Karen.
What? It is?
They always warned us about it. They always warned us about it at church.
That's right. Yep.
You may not do the cocaine, but if you hang out with the kids that do, you're guilty by association.
Below your nose, the powder. They're going to assume.
No, I didn't inhale it. I just wiped it below my nose.
Now that we've connected Joel with Lil Nas, we're going to get into Lil Nas. And of course, a lot of you should not listen to it because of the Satan content. So stay tuned for part 2. And that's when Bonnie she's going to bring in her expertise as a former MTV DJ, VJ.
VJ.
Don't be a shitpile, and we'll see you next week. And maybe Joel Osteen's bad. I don't care. I don't know.
On the flip side, we'll see you.